Welcome to the Study Skills video series. This introductory part is for the teacher or parent who's concerned about their child or learner's academic performance. I think that the videos in themselves will be highly beneficial, but please download them, the worksheets and the workbooks, so that the child can have the full benefit and I can continue making videos like this. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Study Skills course. This is Uncle Jack and we are going to do session 10 now, which is all about you identifying bad reading habits. And the things that I want you to achieve after this session, I want you to become aware of your own bad reading habits. Because if you become aware of what it is that you are doing wrong, then of course it is way easier to fix it. I also want you to discover some of the secrets of fast, accurate reading. We are not going to focus on speed reading in this lesson. I'm going to focus on speed reading in the next lesson, but I want you to just be introduced to the secrets of speed reading in this session. Now, just remember, it's often said that practice makes perfect, but that's not entirely true, because if you practice something in the wrong way, then even if you practice it a lot, you are not going to get much better at it. So it doesn't help you read in a wrong way, but you read a lot. Then your reading is only going to improve slightly over a long time. But if you can identify what it is that you are doing wrong, eliminate those, and then begin to read the correct way, and then practice, you will become a spectacular reader. So reading is a lifelong skill. It is something that you start doing really even before you can read yourself. Children who have parents who read for them even when they are babies tend to do much better in school than children who does not grow up within a reading environment. And one day when we're old and there are many of the pursuits that we love to do now that we cannot do because our bodies just won't cooperate anymore, then reading is something that we will still be able to do. So it is a skill that improves with practice, and it will give you a competitive advantage throughout your entire life. Because when you go to university, you will have to read a lot more. And if you cannot read quickly and effectively, you will just not be able to get through all the work that you are supposed to read through. So let's have a look at some of the habits, the bad habits that are keeping you from being a good reader. The first bad habit is that you are reading every word. And if you are reading every word, it will slow you down. If I just read what's on my screen now and I read every word and I say reading word by word slows you down. You see, it's if I had to do this lesson like this, all of you will go asleep and nobody will listen to me. So it is better, therefore, to read groups of words instead, because that will improve both our speed and our understanding. Another problem with reading word by word is you might think that you are reading with better understanding, but the truth is you are not, because your brain is a remarkable thing and it wants to work at breakneck speed. And if you read slowly, you are actually slowing your brain down a little bit. The second bad habit that we have is mind speaking. So you're not physically saying the words out loud, but you are doing it in your head. So while you are reading silently, in your mind, you are reading like a grade 1 child that still reads every word and say every word that they read. That's how we start to read. That's not the way we are supposed to continue to read. And therefore, we have to train ourselves to recognize words without hearing the word in our head. I'm sure some of you have seen those exercises all over social media, where they give you a sentence with the words, and the letters within the words are all jumbled up. But when you read the sentence, lo and behold, you can understand what it is that you were reading, even though none of the words make sense in and of themselves. Also, there are many words and word groups specifically that we encounter so often that we are able to recognize those as a word group. And therefore, we don't have to read every word or read it in our mind. The third bad habit is that you look at every word. So you try to look at every word instead of looking at the entire sentence, or at least part of the sentence, if you can't look at the entire sentence yet. So what we would do then, if you have this bad habit, is you will read, like, for instance, the word narrow, then the word eye, then the word span. But if I look at my screen now, and as you look on the screen, you can see bad habit 3, narrow eye span. I don't have to do anything with my eyes to see those two lines just standing there. Then if I look at the block, I can see focus on bigger groups. It's just there. The third window, practice widening your view per line. It's just there. I don't have to move my eyes for me to see what is in that block. One of the reasons why I actually put things in blocks for you in these presentations is that your eye will focus on the frame or what is in the frame, and therefore that temptation to read every word is taken away, because what are you seeing? You are just seeing a frame with words in it, and that is much easier for you then to focus than if it was just written out line by line. The fourth bad habit that I've often seen is that students reread parts of the sentence. Now, I'm going to do this now, and you will see just how confusing it is. This is now me doing it the wrong way. Rereading breaks flow and structure. Use a pointer to read faster and with better comprehension. Now, if I read like that, you have no idea what I'm saying. And if you read like that, you also have no idea what it is that you are reading. So therefore, refrain from rereading parts of a sentence. Even if you find that there was a word that you've misread, read the entire sentence and then come back and read it again. So for instance, you would say rereading breaks flow and structure. So that doesn't sound right. It breaks. Oh, I understand. Okay, rereading breaks flow and structure. Now it makes sense, because now I've read it a second time in the correct way. And then there is a little thing that I'm telling you there. Use a pointer to read faster and with better comprehension. So if you find that your eyes are jumping from one line to the next, then use a ruler and just bring the ruler down. There's also, in the Facilitator's Guide, I've given you instructions on how to make a reading card. If you can make a reading card for different types of text that you are going to read, that's fantastic. Then you can make a reading card and use that reading card to focus your attention. So why do you need a reading card? Because the reading card does exactly what the blocks on the screen is doing now. It is actually framing the words so that you can just drag it down and you will be able to read faster, and you will not be rereading parts of the sentence or of the passage because you think that you missed or skipped a line. The fifth bad habit is simply a lack of focus. So please, if you are going to read, especially if you are going to study, but even if you are just reading for fun, do so in a quiet, distraction-free space. Because if there are other things happening, noises coming from all sides, and telephones ringing, and you trying to watch a video while you are reading something else, it's very difficult, guys. So please read where it's quiet and where there is no distraction. Put your phone away if you're reading on your desktop or laptop. If you are reading on your phone, put the notifications off so that you are not distracted by those. Please try and control all internal distractions as well. Do not allow your mind to wander. Do not think about how beautiful the hair of the girl was that sat in front of you in the class. That is going to distract you from the task at hand. So please just focus on what it is that you are doing. Control the internal distractions. In other words, just do not daydream. And then improve your attention span over time. So it's all good and well. You are preparing for a test or an exam, and your mom and dad send you to your room and they say, now go and study for the next hour. If you can only concentrate for 20 minutes, then you are wasting your time. You're trying to fool your parents because now you are sitting in the room. You've read for 20 minutes. Everything you've read after that has gone in the one ear and out the other one, or don't know how it works with eyes, but you didn't really read anything. You didn't really study anything. You were just wasting your time. So if you can only concentrate for 20 minutes at a time, then you go and you study for a 20-minute block and take a break. Even if you take a 40-minute break, then come back and study for another 20 minutes. Because there, in that way, you are making sure that the time you are spending studying is used effectively. And you are not just pretending to be studying. I've already in one of the earlier lessons said to you, please do not go and lie on your bed and read, especially not if you're studying. That's not going to work. If you do your Bible reading in the evening, I'm sure you can do that while you are lying in bed. But even then, really, how long can you lie in bed reading before you are overtaken by tiredness? In my case, it's 10 minutes. But then it's fine. Then choose a passage that's only going to take you 10 minutes to read and have a constructive 10 minutes of reading time. And then it will be fine. It's not the last of the bad habits. There is a sixth bad habit, and that is that you are reading indiscriminately. So when you are reading, for instance, what is in your textbook, you read every line, you read every word, you read what is in every table, you making sure that you're not missing anything. The problem with that is it does not take into account that all text is not equally important. Because I've told you already that as authors, when we write books, we are paid by the word. And so sometimes our sentences get long, our paragraphs get long, and we tend to repeat ourselves. So everything that's on the page is not of equal importance. So scan for bold, for headings, for something that's printed in italics, scan for lists, things like this, because I guarantee you if there is a list on a slide or if there is a list in your textbook, it is just easy for the person who sets the test or the exam to make use of those and test you on that. Because the person who is setting your test or exam also don't want to go and read everything and then find little pieces of information in the text that they can test you on. That's really not what the idea is. I mean, as teachers, we want you to learn the nuggets, the important things that we are trying to teach you. And so you go and you look like that for those types of things. Once again, when I am preparing these slides, that's exactly what I have done already. But then to make sure that you get the context, I show you the slide and then I speak a lot. I speak around the slide so that you can use your eyes as you are reading the slide, but at the same time, you are also using your ears and you're using another sense as you are engaging with the slides. It would have been great if I could add smells and tastes and things like that. We are not there yet. Maybe in future they will have devices that will create smells and sounds as well to enhance our learning experience anymore. I will possibly be long gone by then, but yeah, good luck when that happens. Then if we look at speed reading, and this is without looking at the how you are going to develop your speed reading. If we're just looking at the secrets of speed reading, there's a couple of principles. The first one is practice daily, even if you practice briefly. I've already said to you, it doesn't help that you practice and practice, but you are practicing to do it wrong. So rather take a shorter amount of time in which you can practice your reading, and in that time that you practice, you make sure that you eliminate all of these bad habits that we have talked about. Start with easy material. Start with things that you know. If you know the story of David and Goliath in the Bible, then go and read that story. You know it already, so it is easy to start with material that you already know, or go and read things like in the newspaper. I know we don't really need newspapers anymore. Everything is done on tablets or on screens, but then try and find something where it's in columns so that you can train yourself to read the text that is printed or produced in a column, because then you don't have to rely on a big eye span. You can simply focus on the column and you can read down. Then also track your progress. My wife says I'm always in competition with myself. I say that's a good thing, because how else are you going to improve if you do not track your progress? So, and I've already said, it doesn't matter if you reread something that you know. So take a familiar passage, and maybe this familiar passage is 5 pages, and you see how far you can get in 3 minutes. And on day 1, you only read a page. Now on day 2, you go and you do it again, but now you get to 1.5 pages in the 3 minutes. Before long, you will actually be able to read all 5 pages in 5 minutes. And yes, it will partly be because the information is just familiar to you, but it's also because you are learning to read quicker. And then I already said, use reading tools like a reading card. Especially if you are reading from books, from magazines, from newspapers, things like that, textbooks, and not just from screens, then a reading card is fantastic. The nice thing with the screen, of course, is you can actually use a scroll function and just make the scroll function quicker and quicker, and train yourself to read quicker like that, or faster doing that as well. Okay, what are you going to do in activity 11? Well, firstly, you're going to ask your parent or teacher to download it so that you can complete it. There is a first eye span exercise where you are just being shown that you already have a very wide eye span, and then there is a second eye span exercise, because before you start practicing your speed reading, you want to fix this eye span thing so that you are able to look at a block of words and immediately know what's in there. And then there are 10 cards that I want your parent or teacher to print and make little flashcards of, and then show you what's on the card. And they get progressively more difficult, but the amount of time that they're going to show it to you, that will be the same. So, for instance, your teacher might show you a card and there's one word on the card. Okay, for 1 second, you will easily be able to recall the word. Then on the next card, there might be 2 words, and so forth. But by the time you get to the 10th card, there might be 10 words on the card, and you will have to see how much of that can you remember in a second. Of course, by the time you've done this a second or third time, you already know what's on the cards, and then it becomes a lot easier. But don't think that it has to be difficult to be valuable. Okay, I'm trying to make everything that is in this program easy for you, so that without much effort, you guys can become better students. Okay, guys, enjoy activity 11, and I will see you next time when we get into lesson number 11. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the entire video. Remember, study smart, not hard, and ask your parent or teacher to download the worksheet.